Join us and unwind with a good book. Welcome to Relaxing Reads.
Hi, it's Deb in Halifax.
Hi, it's Simone in Vancouver.
Hey, it's Tanya in Edmonton.
Well, glad to be back here with the two of you, ready to discuss an exciting new book we just read.
You know what's funny is that my sister, I lend all my books to my sister because she's just like, where do you find these? And she read the book that we just did.
Oh, The Myth Makers?
The Myth Makers.
Nope. Yes.
Oh, no. It was...
No. The
Gosh, we've read so many books.
Oh, my gosh.
the one about the women who were all up.
The Whispers.
In the Whispers?
The Whispers. I lent her the book and she's like, thanks, Tan. Now I need therapy.
No.
She thought it was just, yeah. Yeah, she loved it. She's actually loving all the books. She cried when she read the book about what's that dogfish thing?
Oh, Pebble and Dove?
Pebble and Dove.
Oh.
She cried. I'm like, yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, I teared up in that too.
good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
I think it was just the very ending when it made the sound and it got an answer.
I know.
Like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, gosh. Anyway.
So, how are the both of you doing?
Good. How are you? And congratulations.
Congratulations to us all. So,
Yes, congratulations. Yeah.
I recently informed Deb and Tanya that our Relaxing Reads podcast was selected for a BC Association of Broadcasters Excellence Award for Best Podcast 2023. So this is the fruits of the labor that we put into this podcast. So it's a good time to thank our listeners who listen, because that's just an incredible award for us to have.
It is. I mean, we have so much fun with this. And a big shout out to Simone, who is the brainchild of what we are doing and getting us together and laughing and enjoying and getting us into more reading, especially me, because I hadn't been much of a reader
absolutely.
prior to this.
And I think it was Simone who was like, Simone, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you said, I need to read more books.
Yeah.
I need to actually sit down and actually read some books. And that's where it all came from. So, yes, thank you for saying that to yourself and creating this amazing podcast. And I'm just so honored to be part of it, because it's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun with both of you. And, with me, I have a show that I do on my own. Deb, you have the luxury of a co-host. So I miss those moments. And so it's nice when I get to do this, because I feel like it's a little show, a little radio show we get to do with our friends. And I know I was saying we need to, fly out and see each other and celebrate this. So I'll have to ask, one of our corporate team members to see if they can let that happen for us. But it's always great news. I mean, we started it back in 2021. So it's been over 3 years, and a book a month was something that was, an easy goal. And sometimes I think it's just that little bit of me time as well, just taking that time to read a book and have that time to yourself, which is important too.
It definitely is, yeah.
Nothing like sitting down with a great book.
Exactly. And a great book that we just read recently.
Yes. Our latest read is actually from the best-selling author of Breathless, Amy McCulloch, Midnight. And it's another pulse-pounding thriller, a once-in-a-lifetime trip to Antarctica. To camp beneath the midnight sun becomes a desperate battle for survival against a killer determined to follow their prey to the very ends of the earth. So with 24 hours of daylight, there is nowhere to hide. And Olivia, the main character, has always dreamed about spending a white night on the frigid continent, but never thought she'd have the chance until her high-powered, art-dealing boyfriend, Aaron, decides to stage an exhibition on a luxury expedition, a luxury cruise. And it's kind of like a real-life murder mystery weekend that Olivia really didn't sign up for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I thought from the very beginning, this was like edge of your seat writing. It was very suspenseful. Like right from the get-go, I'm like, I am hooked. And what did you guys think?
Yeah, I think we felt that way because we've previously read Amy's Breathless, and I loved that one as well. And that's when she was trekking through the Everest mountain range. So, this is what I loved is just the books that she writes take us to places that we most don't typically visit. So Antarctica is not somewhere, you hear about it and you think about it, but you're never really sold on the idea of going. And I think while I was reading this book, I stopped so many times to Google and look up places there because I was like, this little town, Ushuaia, is that how you say it?
I believe so.
I was looking into that, and then I was like, what does the land look like there? What does the town look like? And it just got me excited because sometimes when you hear the end of the earth or something like that, you think, no, do people go there?
Yeah, you know what? I looked up that town, and it's at the southernmost end of Argentina, and I'm like, that's like Antarctica. Like I was just sort of, I don't know anything about the South Pole. Like I know nothing. I know that it's got penguins, but other than that, I don't know anything. So I actually looked up the town. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's actually quite pretty, but it's at the end of the earth.
Yeah.
Who would go there? And I'm not a fan of the cold at all, which makes it weird because I live in Edmonton, like one of the coldest, cities in Canada. And I'm like, I can't seem to find a coat that's warm enough. So I'm like, Amy, why did you go to Antarctica? So it just seems so cold to me, but stunningly beautiful.
Yeah, like a place to see. When you think about the continents and how much beauty there is in this world that you can never even see in a lifetime, and you get to kind of experience it through the book. That was really neat.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when we get lost in nature, and not lost as in I can't find my way home, but lost in a good sense, where it's very therapeutic and you take pause and you look at your surroundings and feel the air and feel everything around you. It makes you kind of anxious, but again, it's the anxiety in a good way, or the anticipation of something that might be still ahead of you. And I don't know, there's something about that, and that's what I was feeling. I'm like, it seems like it would be so frightening, but frightening and beautiful, and makes you just think that there are so many corners of our world that we really do need to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think, Deb, I think Amy did a really amazing job of describing, just like Midnight not Midnight, the Breathless, when she was describing, climbing these 8,000 meter mountains. The way she described Antarctica was just like, it was so vivid in my imagination. I mean, I could almost feel the cold.
Mm-hmm.
I was taken with sort of the ethereal light. I was taken with the water, how she described the water, how she described the icebergs. This is something I've never seen. And those of you who are listening today, it's like you read the book, and it's like you can almost visualize, almost feel like where she is physically on this cruise ship. And beyond all of that, obviously it's very suspenseful. There's a lot going on. So you just kind of, it's very visceral, I think, how you feel this entire book, or at least I did. And I was certainly along for the journey of how she writes and how she describes things. It was kind of magical for me. Have you been on a cruise?
No, I have never been on a cruise. My mom's done quite a few, and she raves about them, but I just haven't gotten there yet. How about you?
When I was in New Zealand, I didn't do a full cruise, but we actually did an overnight cruise. So it was actually kind of reminding me. It was in Doubtful Sound, and there were penguins, there were whales, there was kayaking. They stopped sailing for a moment, and people, if they wished to, they could get off and do a little kayaking. So it was kind of reminding me of some of the characters that were on the boat that particular night I was there. Quite wonderful. But I have never been on a cruise that was longer than a night or two.
Where you're just days at sea kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I did a cruise ages ago, but I went from New York City to Bermuda, and that's like a 2.5 day, I think, to Bermuda, and then we did like Port Sacal, and then we came back. And yeah, when you're like days at sea and you don't see any land, it's kind of a weird feeling as land dwellers.
I bet.
It's like, where's the land? This is a really big ocean. Like it's just such a weird feeling. And of course, with Amy's book, there's the suspense that is added on top of being on this, this hotel on water. It's pretty crazy.
Very wild. Oh my gosh. There were so many things that happened, before after or during. And with with everything that went on, I don't know. I mean, as much as of an adventure that she describes and the beauty, surrounding it, it makes me a little panicky thinking like, could I do a cruise? Could I do like a full on beyond a few days? I'm not quite sure. And I love the water, growing up by the water. But that part of it does frighten me a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you got into it, was there any point you kind of caught on to what could be happening or what it was going to be all about, or if there was a key character that stood out to you? Because in the end, like we say, it's a murder mystery, and we get to this part about finding out all this information. But there's so many characters that know information, and they're all tied in together. So it took me right till the end. I had no idea what to expect. But I thought that was really interesting. It's like one of those whodunit mysteries, and you're constantly just trying to pay attention to all the little clues. But yeah, I couldn't figure it out.
I'm with you,
I didn't
Simone.
get it.
I was just thinking, there were so many people. There were the helpers, right? It seemed like this person was there to help. This person was going to assist me. I know I can go to them if I need anything. And then in the end, it's no, I wouldn't have been very good to help those who needed help or guide them, toward the right person if I was on that boat.
And even in the beginning, where we have a situation where she's going on this cruise, this expedition with her partner, and the partner doesn't make the boat. Have you ever experienced that, where you've gotten onto a flight and your partner or the person you're traveling with has missed the flight? Like, I've never experienced that. I feel like I wouldn't get onto a plane or a boat if my other half or who I was going with wasn't there. I'd just say, okay, I'll wait for you. We'll catch the next flight. We'll figure it out together.
I'm totally with you, Simone, because honestly, like I'm scared of flying, actually. It's so silly, but it's just, that's the thing about fear. If my partners or my friend or whatever missed a flight, I wouldn't get on it. Like, I would just go, that's an omen. That's like, I am not getting on it. So I think with Olivia's boyfriend, missing getting on the ship, I would be like, oh, I don't think I'd get on it. Good for her for doing it, but I don't think I would get on it.
But also, she didn't really realize, like she thought he was going to make it. And so then by the time it was being figured out, it was kind of like, nope, it's not happening. And then it was, again, a moment too late. It's like once those plane doors close, you're on the flight. Mm-hmm. And once that ship sails, it's gone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had a moment once where I was touring, doing a little tour with a friend. We were told we have to meet back on this bus at this particular time. Now, we got to know the driver and the cast of characters pretty well. Anyway, we start walking back. We had, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. We could see the bus. We were a minute away from walking and hopping on. And as soon as we started crossing this path, we thought he saw us and he took off. And we were in a town, we were just stopped in this town for maybe a lunch and so an hour or so. And then he left. We had never been there. And we looked around. We're like, did he not see us? I mean, he has to come back for us. We knew that we were on a schedule, but really there were only about a dozen of us on this bus. Anyway, he played a prank on us in the end.
Oh.
Yeah. And he came back. But it took a while because we had no idea where he was heading. So we were kind of on the opposite end. But yeah, as far as flights go, I don't think that I would be able to take off if I had a friend or a partner that was supposed to be there with me.
Now we're just silent.
I have a lot of stuff in my head.
I just
but
sit
it's like,
there and cry.
I know. I was just so deep in thought thinking about that situation, because this is the thing with these books. They really make you think. And like I was saying, during this book, my mind was really wandering, because it's like you try to put yourself in those situations and what would you do? And it's like, I love the part, like, her life just seems so fascinating growing up, being able to sail around with her mom and her dad and all the things she learned. And now this was going to be a big adventure to go to the end of the world. And yeah, like, as much as I dream about living that kind of a life. It's not a reality for many unless you have like a really cool job. And so I loved that part of it too. And then just some of the traumas and things she was dealing with. That was a lot. Like that was a part of the book I wasn't expecting. There was the talk of her own mental health and things she was struggling with, and those kind of thoughts. And that really made you think. So, you know, it went deeper than just this murder mystery and that's got all this excitement. It was really, I think that was a point that a lot of people can connect with, is when you just get to the point of burnout. Some people can handle it, and others, it takes them to a really dark place.
Yeah, that was one of the themes that I thought that I really wasn't expecting in this book. You know, I was thinking murder mystery, you know, we're going to get lots of action. We're going to get a lot of red herrings. We're going to get it's going to be a ride for the reader to try to figure it out. But what Amy did is she sort of put in there, you know, what Olivia does. And, you know, she is dealing with an aging mom who is, you know, latter stages dementia, Alzheimer's, and she's finding it financially a burden to be able to pay for both her apartment and also to help with her mom. And, you know, that's why she goes and gets a job as an actuary, which is incredibly stressful. And, you know, she struggles with that. And it's such a huge job. And she struggles with mental health issues because she is so tired and she is so stressed out. And there's a point that you read about at the end of the book where you go, oh, I didn't know she did that. And that sort of started the chain of events of what this book is actually about in terms of the murder mystery suspense, is kind of what her actions made something else happen. And I thought that was really cool. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even know about it. So when Amy wrote that little piece in, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's how it all happened. And that's who that is. And it all makes sense now, because I was thinking throughout the whole book that Liam, who was sort of that hot Aussie, was he Aussie or from New Zealand?
He was a Kiwi.
Oh, he was
a Kiwi.
He's
a Kiwi.
Yeah.
That, you know, he was like the events guy. And I'm like, I think it's him.
No.
You know, Amy does that really well. She kind of sets up characters where the reader's like, oh, I think it's them. And then you go, no, it's not that. It could be this. It could be so many
Could be
people.
anyone.
Could be anyone, which just like adds to the suspense of it.
Yeah. And these characters, they all had such interesting stories as well. So I think it's something that a lot of people would be surprised at how you relate to this story and those in it.
So in reading this book, I mean, it was a grand adventure. I mean, I've never wanted to go to Antarctica, but now, you know, beyond the cold, now I think I actually would like to go, and I would like to sleep in a bivy sack. Now you have to read the book to figure out what that is, but I seriously want to do that. Did this make you guys want to take an adventurous vacation?
Yes. I love adventure. I love travel. I feel like I did a lot before I had the kids, and now it's been mainly trips with them. And I said that to my husband the other day. I said, you know, when the boys are older and they're kind of doing their own thing, I would love to just go on adventures or live down south somewhere for 6 months out of the year. And he just looked at me and he's like, don't you think this is something we should discuss together? And I'm like, well, no, I just thought if you didn't want to come, I can't force you to come. He's like, so we're supposed to just be apart for 6 months? And I'm like, I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm just saying, for me, living in, you know, a cold country, it would be nice to just escape when we can. And it was just a funny conversation. But I think about the times that we could just get up and go when, you know, funds weren't spent on endless amounts of hockey and soccer and kids things, and you just had money to play with. And I hope to get back there one day and just be able to be a free spirit. And, you know, Amy talks about in her book that this all started from her being in South America and hearing about this expedition and just doing that, like just being able to be free and make choices. So I definitely feel like there is more travel in my future. I don't know when, but I look forward to just finding these places. And that's why I love these books, because they take you to places you wouldn't typically consider. Sometimes we see, the top 10 vacation destinations on an article, and you're like, okay, and you check those off. But there's so many places in the world that are just holding so much beauty, and it would be just amazing to go.
Yeah. I'm with you. If you girls want to go, I'll sign up too. I'll go with you. But it's true. It is a wonderful trip that she takes us on, and there's a whole lot going on. And I do love the characters and the fact that I mean, for all of us, I think it took us a while at the end of the book before we pieced it all together. But you do meet some interesting people along the way, whether you're traveling in your own city on a different route or when you travel abroad. So it's, this is definitely one that takes you on a real trip.
I think that, I definitely would love to travel. I lack the funds, honestly, but I lack the funds to do that. But I would love to be able to just take off and just go places. I've heard from a few friends that Africa changes people. And, the red earth and all of that. And I think that is definitely a destination that I don't know what country in Africa I would go to, but I think I really want to see it, I think I really want to see that. So I hope that when Amy writes, I don't know what's next for her, but I hope she writes about somewhere warm, because her last 2 books are so cold. And I hope that she writes, somewhere warm, which of course would come with its own, own issues. But hey, I'm into it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to ask her. We do have an interview lined up with the author of Midnight, Amy McCulloch, and you will be able to hear that during our next podcast. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. As always, ladies, it was wonderful, and we will chat soon.
Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Thank you for kicking back and relaxing with us. We hope you'll join us again on Relaxing Reads.